This lesson is for first graders, and it's on our Reader's Theater. Reader's Theater is an activity where there are different people who read different parts to a script. So it could be performed as a play, and we don't necessarily have to act it out. We can just read the different parts. But I gave you a copy of it in your work packet. So yours is going to look like this, but I'm going to use my book. Let me turn to the page that you have. So let's start right here. And the first story we're going to read and learn how to read together, I'm just giving you the introduction today, is called Why Bear Has a Stumpy Tail. And it says, this is an old Norse folk tale that explains how the bear got its short tail. Like so many other folk tales, the story features a clever, tricky fox. So, this originally is from this story is a folk tale that goes all the way back to the Vikings, just like Leif Erikson and Eric the Red. So, I want to give you I'm just going to read this part to you. It says the background, setting the stage. Background. From earliest times, people all over the world have made up stories to explain how things came to be as they are. And we've looked, it says, you might wish to point out Norway on a map and note its proximity to the frozen Arctic. And it says to tell students that the cold weather in Norway is an important part of this tale. Well, we know from you can look at your maps in your history journal where Eric the Red and Leif Erikson came from. And even I'm sure that they may have told this tale when they went to Greenland. So if we were going to do this together, it says clear 2 areas for staging. One to represent the forest and another to represent the frozen lake. So let me read this to you, the vocabulary. So some of the words in this story, that's called vocabulary. Some new words that you don't know. That's all these different lessons that we've been doing. When you've done compound words, it's given you a new vocabulary word. Your vocabulary are the words that you speak and and even use in your writing. So here's some new words. I doubt they're new to you, but we're just going to go over them and you can read these along with me. Can you read that word? Frozen. And it says turned into ice or covered with ice. So if something is frozen, that means it's been turned into ice or covered with ice. And sit tight. Okay, sit tight. Have I ever said that to you? Or your mom said that to you? Or your dad said to you, just sit tight? Well, that means to wait patiently. That doesn't mean to buckle your seatbelt tighter. That means hang on, wait a minute. I'll get to you in a moment. Just wait patiently. Sit tight. All right, sting. Ooh, we all know what that is. A sharp or prickling feeling of pain. Stream. A small river. Stump. Well, you've seen plenty of those when you've seen where a tree has been cut down. The part that is left after the rest has been cut off. But it doesn't just mean a tree. It could be, have you ever seen we're going to find out in this story about the bear, but have you ever seen a little dog that's had his tail cut off and it's just a stump? Or even sometimes people have had an arm or a leg amputated. That means they only have a part of it, and it can be called the stump. So it's the part that is left after the rest has been cut off. Okay, tingle. Oh, you know what that means. To have a prickling or stinging feeling, especially from the cold. Have your fingers ever tingled? I know they have when you've been here at the cottage school and it's been cold outside and we've been playing outside or working outside. Okay, your last vocabulary word here is trundle. Trundle. To walk with a rolling movement. To kind of trundle along. You may have heard of the word trundle for a trundle bed. That's a bed that goes under another bed. It's usually on rollers. But this is the activity of a trundle to do it. This is the verb trundle, to walk along with a rolling movement. All right, here's something else we need to do. It says, make sure children are familiar with these animals. Now, you have pictures of these at the back of your, let's see if you have them on the page before, that I included in your packet. Here they are. So, which one is the bear? Point to it. Oh, that's right. Which one is the mouse? Definitely a mouse, you know that. Which one is the rabbit? Got it. Which one is the fox? Yes, these aren't the best pictures. Now there should be one more. Oh, yeah. Which one is the groundhog? Right there's the groundhog. And obviously a fish. Okay, just wanted to make sure that you knew. Now, when we read this together, you could read this with your family because we need this many parts. We need a narrator, one. And a narrator is someone who tells a story, and maybe they're telling information in this story. Maybe you've watched programs on television or even cartoons or kids shows, or you've been to a play, or you've even read a book that had information in it like this, had a narrator. So they're the person that's not an actor in the play, but they're telling the story. Narrator 1, narrator 2, and narrator 3. That means 3 different people would have to be the narrators. A bear, a rabbit, a mouse, a groundhog, and a fox. So I was thinking, first graders, if we did this, let's see how many parts there are altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That each one of us would, there's 4 of you, that you all would have 2 parts apiece, or I would maybe have 2 parts, and then one of you would have a couple parts. So anyway, let's see what we can do. Let's read through this together. So here are the parts. Why Bear has a stumpy tail. Narrator 1. Long, long ago, in the time before time, Bear had a beautiful tail. It was a long tail. It was a bushy tail. Bear was very proud of his tail. I'm reading in different voices, so I can pretend to be the 3 different parts. One day he walked through the woods, swishing his beautiful tail behind him. Bear, what a lovely tail I have. I do believe it is the most beautiful tail in all the forest. Yes, Bear, it is a lovely tail. It is nicer than my little cotton puff of a tail, says Rabbit. It is nicer than my little rope of a tail, Mouse said. Groundhog, you've got me beat, Bear. I barely have a tail at all. Lucky me to have such a fancy tail. Narrator 2. All this time, Fox was hiding behind a tree listening. Fox knew that his own tail was really the most beautiful in the forest. It was a red, bushy tail with a lovely white tip. Fox was very clever. He decided to teach Bear a lesson. Fox slipped between the trees and down to the stream. The water in the stream was moving fast. It was not frozen over. Clever Fox quickly caught 6 fat fish. Fox trotted off to the forest to find Bear. He found Bear sitting alone on a large tree stump. Hello, Bear. Hello, Fox. Those fine fish will make a good supper. Where did you get them? I caught them in the lake. In the lake? The lake is frozen over. How can you catch fish in the lake? What is Fox doing already? It is easy. Just do as I tell you. Go down to the lake, cut a hole in the ice, sit down, and drop your tail into the hole. Brr, that sounds cold. Indeed it is. At first your tail will tingle, but you must sit tight. How long must I stay there? Oh, a long time. Your tail will sting and burn, but that is a good sign. It means the fish are biting. I will do that. I want some fish for dinner. Good. To be sure that you have enough fish, stay until sundown. Then jump up and pull your tail quickly out of the hole. Thank you, Fox. Bear trundled off to the lake. He did everything Fox told him to do. He cut a hole in the ice. He dropped his tail in the hole. He sat on the ice and waited. My tail is beginning to tingle just as Fox said it would. Rabbit, Mouse, and Groundhog came out of the forest. What are you doing? What are you doing, Bear? Why are you sitting on the ice? I'm fishing. I am going to have a fine feast for my dinner. It's too cold for me. I'm going home. Me too. Good luck with your fishing. Goodbye, Bear. Bear waved goodbye to his friends. He sat on the ice and waited. Oh, now my tail is starting to sting. The fish must be biting. Bear closed his eyes and dreamed of a big platter filled with crispy fried fish. I'm not so sure bears really fry their fish or make it crispy. After a while, Bear opened his eyes and looked at the sky. The sun is going down. Now I can take my fish and go home. Bear tried to stand up, but his tail was stuck in the ice. Fox said I would have to pull hard to bring up the fish. Bear gathered all his strength and jumped up suddenly. He tumbled over on the ice. Quickly, he looked around at his tail. He expected to see his beautiful tail covered with speckled fish. Instead, he saw only a little stump. The rest of his magnificent tail remained frozen in the lake. And from that day to this, every bear has a short, stumpy tail. What do you think of that story? Boy. Would you like to be Bear with your tail stuck in the ice? Would you like to be Rabbit? Would you like to be Clever Fox trying to trick the bear? You read through this story and see which character in the tale you would like to read and like to be. You practice reading this. You can read every part, or you can share and read some parts, and your mom or dad or brothers or sisters read the other parts. And you all can perform this at home. I'd love for my first graders to practice enough to be able to read it together, maybe on a FaceTime call. You can go ahead and do the activities behind it. They're pretty simple. But I want to tell you something about, there are other stories, and these kind of tales are called pourquoi tales. That means in French, what for or why. And these stories explain the origins of things, like maybe why a rabbit hops on its back feet, or like this story, why Bear has a stumpy tail. Now, we know why, truly, these things are, because God made the animals that way. But sometimes people, certainly in olden times, wanted to make up stories about how things came to be. So that's what this is, one of them. If you're an eager beaver, you can go ahead on your own and read the next story, Math at Farmer's Market. This can count for your reading. This one's a little bit harder, but I wanted us to do it together. We're going to probably do it together next week because it's going to incorporate some of our money work that we've been practicing. Okay, that's enough for today. You get reading Why Bear Has a Stumpy Tail on your own. See if you can read it with different voices. Have fun with this. You can send me a Marco Polo. I think I'm going to make a Marco Polo to invite you all the first grade parents to join. And you can send me one or send me a little video of you reading Why Bear Has a Stumpy Tail. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.